Let's look at a couple of different types of linked lists. So far we've only looked at linear linked list as opposed to, say, doubly linked lists or circular doubly linked lists. So what is a doubly linked list? Here we have a singly linked one, and you notice that each one of the nodes has a reference to the next node. But if we have a doubly linked list, then we have two references. A reference to the previous node. The first one would be null in this case because there's no previous node. Then the next one would have two links, and so on until you get to the last one. And the last one would have null for its next because there's nothing after it. So you have this sort of architecture in which each one is connected to two other nodes. So what that does is lets you move forward in the linked list and lets you move backwards in the linked list depending on what your needs are within that. Now, what does this change within the code? Well, right now what we have is this node class. And if you were to want to do a doubly linked list, you would need a slightly different node class. So instead of just having two instance variables, you would just add a next one, a previous instance variable, which would be of type node. And then the constructor would have an extra argument to it, which would be prev. Now, it's really up to you whether you'd want to do this or not. So you notice here we have the new instance variable, and then here we have three arguments within the constructor. And then here we have our prev instantiation. Now, what about a circular linked list? This is the last type of linked list that we're going to look at. So what's going to happen is that instead of just having null for the first one as prev and null for the last one as next, we're just going to connect those two. So the last node is going to connect back to the first node, which is 82. In this case, we're going all the way back. And then the first node is going to connect all the way to the last one, which is 33, which goes all the way to the front. Now, being able to do this, then it's really easy to get from the first one to the last one and the last one to the first one. And instead of having to go through the whole linked list, you can just go back one, which is really helpful.